Hello everyone, so we'll be covering grade 7 science exam for tomorrow. Let's start. So round seeds are dominant over wrinkled seeds. What does that mean? Is that they have already told us the dominant seeds are round and the wrinkled seeds are recessive. So now what do we have to keep in mind here is that let's continue with the question. So here they said which two statements are true about resulting offspring of a cross between two pea plants with the wrinkled seeds. So what result do they want? Wrinkled seeds, right? The offsprings are going to be wrinkled. Now wrinkled seed, sorry. So the two pea plants, they're telling us to describe about them. What are the two statements about them? Now remember, if there is an R dominant that's going to be present in the two pea plants, they will have at least one pea plant that will be dominant, but they don't. So that proves that both of the pea plants are small recessive. Only then is the case that they will have the smaller, they have all wrinkled seeds, right? Now let's go ahead. So this will have, they cannot have round seeds, yes, because they're all wrinkled seeds. The next thing is that they have only homozygous genotype. Now why do they only have homozygous genotype? Only then they can have all wrinkled seeds. Okay. The next one, which two statements are true about Mendel's hybrid plants? Now remember about the hybrid plants. Hybrid plants mean that they're both a combination of both a dominant genotype and a recessive genotype. So they have a heterozygous for the trait. And what is the other one? They show, what do they show? They show all of the dominant phenotype, right? Because even though they're hybrid, they still have the dominant, and once you have even a single genotype that's dominant, you will show the dominant phenotype. So they're heterozygous for a trait and dominant genotype. The next one, sorry, it's just taking a minute. Okay, in this one, what you have to look is that the independent and the dependent variables. Here you have to keep in mind that x-axis is the independent, that's the one that you're controlling, and dependent variables what you're seeing the effect on. So the y-axis is the the dependent variable, and the x is the independent variable. Let's go to the next one. Here they're telling you that where the sound travels from slowest to furthest. Now remember, the sound travels, it depends also how are the particles arranged. The particles here, the further apart they are, the slower the sound is going to travel. So it's going to be air and then water. Water is going to be closer together, right? Water is going to be closer together, so it's going to be a bit faster there. And then the solid will be the fastest. So let's keep that air, water, and steam. Here, as you can see the picture, it seems like the spoon is broken, but the spoon is not broken. There is, when you look at it from the side, you'll see the spoon is broken. What happens is that the light, when it travels, it changes direction. So when it changes direction, it seems like it's broken, but it's not. It's just a phenomenon of the light, it's called refraction. Kim pours sugar water into one beaker and then pours an acid into another beaker. Smell each liquid. Nope, you're not going to find the correct idea. And taste each liquid. That's definitely, you don't know how exactly, it can harm you. So you don't know what's in the liquid. And report what happened in the structure. Yes, that's the best thing to go with before taking any decisions. This one, where is the cytoplasm, or is it chlorophyll or cell wall? Remember they said it's animal cell, so it can never be a cell wall. Animal cells do not have a cell wall. And they're pointing directly outside. So outside is made up of cell membrane. Remember, don't mistake it as a cytoplasm. That's going to be inside. The next one. Here, what is a tissue? Remember, your heart it has tissue. Your eyes have tissue. What is that? They are a group of similar cells that work together to carry out a specific function. So let's go to the next one. So there are a number of cells that you have in your body. So for example, if they're carrying out, they're producing energy. So all of these cells that produce energy, they are specialized in producing energy. All of these grouped together will form a tissue. Now the next one is the unit of volume, liters. Keep that in mind. What is this? Now, whenever you're echo, even when you go on the mountains and you're screaming, right? There's something that is the waves are bouncing off of. Here, don't mistake this with bouncing waves. You'll be say that as a reflection of waves. The waves will be traveling back to you. So don't mistake that as bouncing waves. The next one is question number 11. Here, what is the underlying thinnest layer of the Earth? So now remember, the Earth is made up of, what is it made up of? It's the crust at the top, then it's the mantle, and then it's the core, right? Sorry, then it's the mantle, and then it's the core. Sorry, there's a problem in the marker. Mantle, and then the core. So where exactly is the thinnest layer? That's going to be your crust. So the topmost layer. Now, the lab instructor gave Ivan and Nadim an unknown solution to test and identify. So the three students wore their lab coats, safety glasses, and gloves that ahead of the experiment. Now, Ivan suggested to taste the unknown solution to identify it. Nope, that's incorrect. You don't know how it can harm you, so you should never taste these solutions. It can even burn your esophagus, so never do this. Anna suggests to heat the mixture, keeping the test tube away from you. Yes, these are the protocols that you keep even if it boils out, it's not going to boil on you, right? The water or the liquid is not going to fall on you. Nadeem suggests to smell the vapors. No, you don't know how it can harm you. Again, so Anna. We're going to choose Anna because she is the obeys to laboratory safety rules. The next one is, what is the total mass of pieces? It's going to be 3 kilograms. Now remember, even if there's a piece of chocolate and you cut it into very tiny pieces, and it's the same amount. So it was the chocolate like this, you just cut into tiny pieces, it's going to weigh the same. Unless you lose or you throw out some pieces of it. So here, a circuit consists of a resistor connected across a battery that's being tested. As the potential difference across the resistor is controlled, the corresponding current value is measured. So as the potential difference is being controlled by you, what is we're seeing the effect on? The corresponding current value is measured, right? So the potential difference across the resistor is plotted against the current passing through it. So the independent value is going to be your current. Sorry, just a minute, it's loading. Now here in the following food chain, the organisms that play a role of predator and prey, that can be the caterpillar or it can be the frog, right? So I'm just going to choose the frog. Let's go to the next one because they're both. The frog is being eaten and the frog is eating the prey. So here the prey, you won't really say this is the prey of the flower, so it's best to choose the frog as the answer, right? So you won't choose like this is not preying on something. Sorry, it's being preyed on the frog, but it's not a predator of the flowers. So you won't choose the caterpillar. So don't make that mistake. Let's go here. Now Rami's cell contained both X and Y chromosomes, so it's a boy. Which parent gamete provided Rami with each of these sex chromosomes? X. Rami provided because his mother can only give him X, the X chromosome. So it will be his mother's eggs, and Y is from his father's sperm. Let's go to the next one. And here, offspring inherit half of the genetic material from the mother and half of the genetic material from the father. The best way to determine if two organisms are related is to compare their. Now remember, a lot of people have the same height, the same hair color. Does not mean that they're related to each other. So what is the best way to find out if someone is related? It's through their DNA. The form of a gene that's expressed only when two copies are present is a recessive gene, just like the wrinkled one that we saw in the starting. What was that? That was your recessive genes that were present. Only then you can have the wrinkled seed. Other than that, it will all be the round seeds. What is the form of gene that expressed even if only one copy is present? That's your dominant. Dominant. What is the term describes the way a trait appears? So now when you look at it, when you have seen it, that's called a phenotype, right? That you can see it. Someone has brown hair, or they have brown eyes. So you can see that. That's phenotype. An organism have two different alleles for a trait. The genotype of this organism is called, so now they have two different. Remember, two different, they are heterozygous. Two different alleles for a trait. What is their genotype going to be? Heterozygous. Underlying the term, the best described genotype of an organism, the two identical alleles for a trait. So when they have identical, keep that in mind, it's homozygous. Keep these definitions in your mind because even a minor change can confuse you. If you have any questions or if you would like me to explain the ebook to you, please comment down below or book a call with me. So alleles combinations in organism, cell represents the organism. So whenever there is an allele combination, what do we call that? We call that the, sorry, 1 minute, that will be called the genotype. The next, in some flowers, pollen from a stamen of one flower lands on the pistil of the same flower. Remember, it's the same flower where the stamen is coming from and the pistil. So what are we going to say? Self-pollinating. This one, Mendel crossed a purebred. A purebred, what does that mean? That only produces offsprings. It itself produces, it was a round seed, and also only produces offspring with round seeds. Okay? With the purebred plant having recessive trait. So what is this? What are we going to choose for this? It's wrinkled, right? Recessive trait, which is wrinkled. So it only produces wrinkled seeds. It was a wrinkled seed and it's only produced wrinkled seeds. He noticed in F1 generation that all plants produced. What did they produce? A dominant trait. You could only see the round seeds. And the seeds were all round. You can see that in the ebook when you read it, you read the experiment about it. You will check that. You'll see it. So here, what is the term that best describes the organism have two different alleles for a trait? So whenever they have two different alleles, hybrid. Sorry. Now look here, they're not talking about the genotype of the two different alleles, just two different alleles. We'll call it hybrid. So this is why I'm saying be careful about the definitions. Round and wrinkled are the, what are they? They are the alleles. Because you can see them, right? I mean, sorry, you cannot see them, but they are options. So gene is kind of the instruction and alleles is the variation in instructions and of the gene. So gene can be like the texture of the seeds, and then you will have variations which are the alleles. Sorry. Here, circle the term that best describes the allele for wrinkled seeds that results in all hybrid plants having round seeds. So we have allele for wrinkled seeds that results in hybrid plants with round seeds. What is that? So what are we going to say? This is recessive. So we understand that it's a recessive seed. Sorry, just give it a minute. Now, in underlying the pattern of inheritance with both alleles are expressed equally, which is called codominance. Remember in your ebook, there is a part where the flower, one of the flowers is red and the other flower is white. But what it produces, the offspring, is pink. So this is called codominance. Garden pea plants are easy to work with. They have many traits that show only. So what do they only show? One or two? Two forms. They produce what? Large number of offsprings in a short time. That's why Mendel used garden pea plants, because they're easy to work with. And they are easy to breed. In nature, pea plants are self-pollinating. Now you'll see in the ebook as well that Mendel, he did some changes in the pea plants so they can crossbreed. So please read that and tell me if you need an explanation of the ebook, and always book a call. Which means that pollen from the stamens of one flower lands on the pistil of the same flower. Mendel crossed two purebreds having different phenotypes for the same time, same trait to produce only. So Mendel, why did he cross two purebred plants? They have different phenotypes of the same traits to produce only hybrid offsprings, right? So they were hybrid. Let's go to the next one. Now here, incomplete dominance, what does that tell us? Heterozygous offspring with an intermediate phenotype. Codominance means offsprings in which both alleles are expressed equally, right? Like the red and pink flower. Sorry, the red and white and then the pink flower. Multiple genes, offspring which many variations are trait are expressed. I explain all of these to the students I tutor, and the main thing is that when you go through the ebook, you'll understand where exactly which experiment is, and you will be able to do the questions faster, understand them better. So one parent has a gene combination of dominant and small p, while the genotype of the other plant. Let's read first. So like you can see here, there is the purple flower is being shown in all of them. It's the purple flower. Now what is that? There is, whenever you see this experiment, you will see that there is the p above and the p, there is small p here. This is the Punnett square, right? So you can make this. The small p is here. and then the larger P will be here. You can also check this whenever you do this, that how exactly is it being made. Sorry, 1 minute. And the big P here. So now when you crossbreed, you will see that the P and P for the first one, the P and small p will be here, they're placed here, and then the P is here, and then the next one is placed here. You can see this, that one parent has a gene combination of P and the other one, and you can always check these. Why are they showing these to us? Because this way, when you know the offspring, you can easily find what were the genotype of the parents. The phenotype of both parents is, what is the phenotype of the both parents? It will be purple flowers. So you can only see purple flowers. As you can see, they're dominant, and if it's present even once, it's going to show the purple flower. All the offsprings have purple flowers, right? The next one here, a short hair cat have a heterozygous genotype. Now short hair, remember in the ebook it's written that the short hair are they are dominant. So if it's heterozygous, if it's still showing that they have short hair, so in its heterozygous, it's big S and small s. As homozygous genotype will be both, they're dominant, so it will be both big S. And you can also see it above, the difference between short hair and cat hair long, if short hair is dominant. You can see it above as well. They've stated that short hair is dominant. The last thing, while the long hair cat always has a genotype of small s. Why? Because it's a recessive. Only then, if they are homozygous recessive, it can show that trait. The last two questions. Here, cannot be covered up, dominant, represented by capital letter dominant. Homozygous and heterozygous have the same phenotype. So whenever you have homozygous and the heterozygous, so for example, when we saw that the purple flowers, even though there was P, there was a small p and there was a big capital P and there was a small p, it still showed purple flower. Why? Because the dominant always shows. The next one, homozygous, heterozygous, and heterozygous have different phenotype. Now different phenotype, what does that mean? Recessive. Let's go to the last one. Here the letter R makes up an organisms. What does that make up the organisms? Let's say genotype. Sorry. Now an organism with R allele has homozygous genotype. And then the way in which trait appears in organism is a phenotype, because you can see it, right? And the last one is percentage. Okay, thank you for your time. Take care of yourselves.